not good enough, and it's an injustice in that way.
If you score in a certain percentage, students believe that they are that percentage, and for those who score low, they believe that they are that 50%, they are that 60%. Students don't believe that they're more than that number. They allow that number to define who they are, and it's not always the case. It's never the case.
Kids here, kids that I worked with before, they'll look at a problem and they won't even, it's like there's a mental block in their head because they're labeled dumb. That they look at it like, I can't do it, I'm dumb.
A lot of them end up dropping out because of the label, because of discouragement. They dig a hole for themselves.
So if you have one bad day somewhere along the line and you don't score well on a particular test, as somebody was saying in the other panel, your track is not going to be to go to a selective enrollment high school. And to get to that school, you really need to start working on it from first grade. And you have to go to an elementary school that really prepares you to be able to take the tests that will get you into a school like Northside College Prep.
Schools who have students who are magnet programs have been tracked into that program. So those students have been somewhere along the line, they've been offered different and sometimes more opportunities to learn than those students who are not in those types of programs. It looks as though their school is a better performing school because you started off with students who tested in a certain range, who tested in a certain number.
The school, like from day one, it's like you're a lane 10 Indian and you are worth something because of that. And I mean, we all still wear like our lane type gear, like it's cool or something. And so that's a big difference I see, but I think it's also because it's fostered there because it's like, oh, well, you guys are the cream of the crop, so you should be proud to go here.
Why do I think it happens? Because of the system that we have, and because we're such a system that depends on numbers and scores, and we look at everything based on how high a student can score, and we don't ever look at what that student can do in terms of, how can they think past choosing A, B, C, or D. We don't look at that. We look at, can that student successfully choose B as the correct answer.
I think it's another way to push people, to certain people down.
Standardized tests are one of the best ways that those people in power can use to keep people in their place in the society.
I think we should distinguish between tests and assessments. I think assessments are important. So you study something, you want to see what you've learned. And teachers need to look at what you've learned, not so that they can sort you, but so that they can say, how can I teach better so that more kids can learn?
I am from a school called Kevin Park High School that is located in 4343 West Redwood. I am a sophomore in that school and I'm 16 years old. I am from Get Here on Time, Do Your Work, Let Me See Your ID, screamed by most of the teachers. I am from Come On, Try Harder and Everything Will Be Alright, whispered by mentors. I am from a never stopping world where people are thirsty to explore. I am from a town named Chicago where some dreams are overthrown and blown. I am from where cracks on the streets stretch and where gangs are a violent threat. I am from where the truth is displayed to you, when a black or Hispanic is treated like if it was the flu. I am from the colors are a waste on evil, where kids decide to drop out knowing very little. I am from where flowers are filled with blood from friends and where people just relax that it wasn't them.
If the society had people who asked why, then we'd have a society that would be very different because we would not tolerate the injustices that we have.
Let us get organized. Let's get angry together and do something with that anger. Let's rise up and say things need to be different because too many of us are not graduating. Too many of us feel feel like they're being pushed out of school, whether it's because they're being suspended or they're being labeled bad or they're being labeled dumb, right? They're labeled, whatever it is. Young people are not feeling connected to what's happening in school. So we need to organize together, young people, adults, teachers, because I think teachers feel the same way, right? Let's work on it together and really push CPS, push the state board, push the board of, on the Department of Education on making school make sense for the lives of young people.
I think as a society, we need to stop labeling our schools. Every school's a neighborhood school technically, right? They're all in some neighborhood, so why do we have to label some schools as neighborhood schools, or some schools as prep schools, or some schools as magnet schools?
I think students and teachers have to work together on this. Teachers have to be real with students and say, look, I'm not just going to teach you to do well on the test. We're going to teach you to understand what's happening in society and support you to be able to really figure out what's going on out there so that you can change it. And in the process, we're also going to make sure that you do well on these tests because they matter in your future.
We need to change the curriculum. We need to change what people are learning so that students develop the tools of not only having a rich academic education, but also the tools to think critically about the society.
You don't understand the root of the problem, forget trying to fix it. You don't understand why KP doesn't have the resources that other schools have, how are you going to be able to make that different? You got to understand why first, and as you understand why, to work to change it. Young people have always taken the lead in social change and in social movements around the planet. Why should you young people be any different?
I think you need to study history to recognize that anything that we have because we've fought for it, not because it was given to us, and to see the power that you have when you organize yourselves. And so I would encourage you to study, and I would encourage you to organize yourselves, and I would encourage you to fight for things, even if it means within your school. Sometimes fighting for things means just studying and coming to understand how things work, and then educating your fellow students.